Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.
Earlier today, the UNC Board of Governors elected Thomas Ross as the next president of the 17-campus University of North Carolina. President-elect Ross is currently the president of Davidson College and a former North Carolina Superior Court judge. He previously served as the executive director of the Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation. Mr. Ross is 60 years old and will take office January 1st, 2011. The current UNC system president, Erskine Bowles, plans to retire this December after 5 years in the position.
It is our duty to continue to support public education at all levels so that our people will be equipped and prepared to solve the increasingly complex problems we face. The university cannot do it alone. We must look for new ways to work with K through 12 educators and with our terrific network of community colleges so that North Carolinians will have greater access to affordable and top quality higher educational opportunities.
Our Kelly McCullen had an extensive conversation with UNC President-elect Ross shortly after the announcement this afternoon.
Tom Ross is officially the president-elect of the University of North Carolina. Sir, thank you for being on North Carolina Now this evening.
Thank you. I'm proud to be here.
Well, the Durham Herald-Sun I read this morning had a quote from some of your Davidson colleagues saying, you really wanted this job. What was it about it that made you pursue it, if that's true?
Well, I think the phrase really wanted might infer a little more than is fair, because I think what actually happened is I feel called to public service. I've spent my career in public service, and the opportunity to serve the public through this great university is something I think anyone who cares about the public would want. And so in that sense, I wanted it, and I'm proud to be able to try to lead this university beginning in 2011.
I should say was pursue the position. You know, what kind of leadership can the parents and the students expect as you take office soon?
Well, I hope a person who's transparent, who is that they see what they get. You know, I am who I am. I don't put on any faces for anybody, and I think if you ask the parents and students at Davidson, they would agree with that. I'm somebody who I think likes to have fun and smile and be a part of what's going on in a university or college. So, you know, I'll be at sporting events at all the campuses. I'll be at all sorts of other student events and have opportunities to interact, I hope, with students and faculty, because that's part of what I enjoy about higher education.
You'll also step into an organization and a system that has thousands of faculty, professors and lecturers, all the way up and down the chain. What do you say to them as you arrive on campus? That
they're the key. The faculty of any institution are maybe more than any other group of people the key to high quality education. It's the teaching in the classroom, but also the teaching outside the classroom that really matters. It is the leading of research projects with students that really matters. And so it's our job, as I tried to say earlier today, it's our job to provide both the support and the resources that faculty need to be able to provide the excellence in education that this university strives to provide. So I would say to them, I'm the kind of guy who's here because I want to do what I can to help you do your job better, because you're doing it great already, but sometimes you need things you don't have, and that's part of why I'm here. I also think you can't forget the importance of staff at our campuses. You know, students are in a period of their life, usually, not always. I mean, we have students of all ages, but most often they're young people. They're people 18, 22 years old, and they're growing and they're maturing both emotionally and intellectually, and they have their ups and downs and their adjustments and their struggles, and staff can really be an important part of their process and their educational experience. And so, again, part of what my role is, I think, is to try to provide the support to the chancellors and to the boards of trustees of our campuses so that they can then hold up our faculty and staff and give them what they need to do the job for our students.
What past career experiences would you say have helped shape you into the position that you're taking as the UNC president?
Probably everything I've done.
Everything?
Probably everything I've done. I think clearly when I first started out of law school on the faculty, that was an experience that taught me a little bit about, and I don't claim to know all by any means, but a little bit about what it's like to be a member of a faculty at one of the branches of this university. I practiced law, which taught me some advocacy skills that I think are always valuable to have. I was a litigator, and I enjoyed that very much. I worked in a congressional office, gave me a real insight about legislative activities and what's important in that process. I spent 17 years as a judge, and I think that taught me a lot about solving problems and about looking for ways to reconcile differences. And it was a real maturing process for me in a lot of ways, because I dealt with some very tough problems and issues. And while I was on the bench, I led the Sentencing Commission, so I learned a lot more about solving tough public policy issues, and that was again a great challenge and one I enjoyed. At the Administrative Office of the Courts, I think you learn a lot about how to lead people that maybe you don't have as much control over as you do in some employment environments, because many of those people are elected officials or they work directly for someone else, but you've got to figure out how to lead them. I learned a lot about working with the legislature. I learned a lot about the state budget and how it functions. And then the foundation taught me more than I could have ever hoped to know about this state and about the people of this state and what their aspirations and dreams are, but what their struggles are and what they're facing on a day-to-day basis. And then finally, Davidson's been a great opportunity to really see up close and personal just how important education is, just how it does really transform people's lives, and how it encourages people to be part of a civic society and part of the solution to problems. It teaches people how not only to live an enriched life, but to help others live an enriched life. So I feel like my whole career has given me various aspects of knowledge and experience and skills that I hope will help me in this new job. I mean, this is a complex, big system that's very, very important to this state, and it's a challenge, and it's had great leaders in the past, and it's just my hope that I can step up to what it's going to take to do it in the right and best way for the state.
Do you have any anticipation of what your first challenge will be?
I think there'll be a lot of first challenges. This is a job that there is not going to be just one. Clearly, the economy of this state is struggling, and that means resources are limited, and the legislature, and I have to say, in my experience with those folks, they do an amazing job of trying to balance the needs of this state, because there are lots of needs, and so the opportunity to work with them to try to figure out how, in a resource-constrained environment, this university can have the resources it needs, because really this is the key in a lot of ways to not only turning around the economy, but for the future of the state. Well beyond any one economic crisis, the education of our citizenry has got to be a high priority. So how can I work with them to see that can be done in this tough economic environment? That's certainly going to be a challenge. But I think, there's a big learning curve for me. I've got a lot to learn, and I'm depending on our chancellors. We've got 17 fantastic leaders of our campuses, and I know many of them. I've worked with them over the years, and they're really good, and they can teach me a lot. And so I look forward to working with them as a team, really, to address the needs of the university.
Tom Ross is the president-elect of the University of North Carolina. We thank you for taking time to share your thoughts with us this evening.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Podcasts on UNC-TV.org are made possible through the financial contributions of viewers like you, who invite you to join them in supporting UNC-TV.